Hello, everybody. Welcome back yet again to the FTR podcast, episode 5. Only getting better. Only getting better.
Yeah, episode 5. Sorry we missed last week, but a few things going on. Daniel was out of town. How dare you?
I'm sorry. I had to. That's why we recorded, obviously, the last episode. Just try and put something in there so sort of get a bit of something out there for you guys. But let's get straight into it. 2 game weeks.
Yeah, so we're going to cover mostly what happened this past week. So Saturday 21st, Sunday 22nd, and then we're just going to talk about a couple of the matches from the previous week we've missed.
But we'll try and wrap those in.
Yeah,
really.
it was interesting, like an interesting week, but we'll be fine. So let's get started, because this week we had Arsenal Man City. It was a very
frustrating,
heated match.
From the get-go, I think.
Let's start with the positives. What was positive about this game, and then let's go on to everything that was wrong with it.
Don't worry. I think it was almost good that Man City scored first, because I think you can tell from the way Arsenal played is that we were going there to win.
Mm-hmm.
But I think at the same time it forced our hand, and like Haaland's goal was really just like, let's be real, it's a standard finish for Haaland, right? Let's be real. I saw some people trying to say, oh wow, but look at the like dynamics of it. Come on, let's not apply ourselves here. This is Haaland. This is what we expect from him. He's through 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper. If he doesn't score, I am like giving a standing ovation to David Raya. Let's be real. Haaland is the favourite in that situation every day of the week. Yeah. It was poor defence because the defenders were too far apart. But I think from a tactical perspective, it was really smart of City. Ilkay Gundogan, just beforehand, had ran forwards and was free. So if you watch, Saliba is drifted so far wide, leaving that space, because he drifts in to try and mark Gundogan, which is Declan Rice's job, therefore leaving it open.
Yeah, it was a bit of, just defensively there were a lot of mistakes on the first goal. But let's talk about Arsenal and my boy, Calafiori. I cannot describe how happy I was to see him. I called you, and I was just like, euphorical? Is that a word?
Yeah, you were euphoric.
Euphoric, not euphorical. Thank you.
Don't worry, I got you.
It was a banging goal from a defender. Like
it was phenomenal.
It was
phenomenal.
So good. And what I've told Daniel was that he deserves to start from next match, starting 11.
Yeah.
After such a performance
next
against
Premier League match.
Yeah.
Because obviously we've got
yes,
we've got
that's what I
Bolton
meant
on Wednesday, so
I meant next Premier League match. But such a performance against Man City, which, to be fair, Man City are quite a good team, and he just goes there, is the player of the match, scores that banging of a goal. He's everywhere. In
David
that
Raya
pitch.
won man of the match, I'm pretty sure.
Look at this.
Yeah, but he's got the little thing which says man of the match.
Yeah, but
he's got the highest rating on here, apparently. On FootMob, he's got the highest rating out of all the players, I believe.
Calafiori.
Calafiori's got the highest rating overall by them, and I mean, what a finish. And I mean, it shows his character really too, because he comes in, he's had a few substitute appearances. He might get frustrated in the first place that, I was your big signing of the summer, and you're starting a right back at left back over me. And then he comes in, he makes a bit of a mistake by letting Savinho get away from him.
Which led to the goal.
Exactly. But he gets the ball on the edge and just smacks it. And the thing is, I saw some people trying to say, he was trying to cross it. You can tell immediately as he whips it, he's already reeling off, celebrating. He knows what he's doing.
His celebration was priceless.
Jumping with Arteta and everything.
I was like, calm down. And he was just like, so good.
It was really phenomenal. I mean, one talking point is also the referee pulled Kyle Walker out of position. How do you feel on that? Because I know how I feel, and I'll say that after I let you speak first.
I don't feel anything about it. What did you feel?
I think, don't get me wrong, it's a bit harsh in the first place. However, Kyle Walker's walking back. When you watch him, he's not running. he's like jogging a bit / walking. It's like, mate, I'm not being funny. If the ref drags you out of position, you need to just run back. You can't expect the ref just to wait. But Kyle Walker did. He talked about in like a post-match interview elsewhere that like would the referee do if that was a goalkeeper as the captain? He would wait for the goalkeeper to get back into position. He was like, oh, I'm the first line of defence. Part of me is like, okay, yeah, that is a bit of a valid point there. However, at the same time, you're not a goalkeeper.
Yeah, exactly.
Goalkeepers are very different to every other position on the pitch.
It was just an excuse because he should have just kept his eyes on the game and just keep going. Like, it's not...
Yeah, and I mean, realistically, even if he was there, he might have closed down Martinelli a bit quicker or something like that, but if Calafiori shoots from there, he's not going to make a difference.
My boy.
Then, I think a big one is Arsenal and set pieces. Yet again, we saw it in the North London derby last week, which I loved.
We're going to talk about that later. But...
And then we also saw it this week too.
Yeah. Gabriel is always the one banging the goals from corners, and it's just...
He's a real target, and we saw it from the corner before where he missed it, and he really should have scored if we're being honest. And then Kyle Walker decides, I'm the captain, I'll man mark him and everything. Does this little tippy tappy thing.
Oh, that was hilarious.
I was like, I'd love if he scores, and instantly just loses his man, just straight away. As soon as the ball's kicked, he's just like, huh? Like, and it's just, I loved it.
It was a great goal. It was a great, like, normal header for Gabriel. Like, he's done it.
Easy stuff for him. So, perfect delivery from Saka. Good for my FPL.
Negative points.
I think we have to get to it. This is the point.
So, did Trossard deserve the red? Second red in the season for Arsenal.
I mean, even then, when you look at even the first yellow, I remember a City player, I believe it was Bernardo Silva, did the exact same challenge moments before.
And nothing happened.
Then he does it, gets his first yellow. And it's a bit like, mate, I'm not being funny here. You need to just be consistent.
Yeah, I don't think the first foul was a yellow. For what you've just said about Bernardo Silva. The second one, yes, I understand. But that was really unfair to just give him the red.
I mean, personally, I disagree with the second yellow anyway. I think... the reason why he gave it is because Declan Rice got a red. If Declan Rice,
how does that make any sense?
If you let
me.
Oh,
sorry.
Let me finish. But it's the way I look at it is Declan Rice got a red. That put a huge highlight on kicking the ball away, all that sort of stuff, especially with Arsenal. Now Trossard has kicked the ball away. I'll get into why it's not a kick away, but he kicks the ball away. And that means he almost has to give him a yellow. Because if not, why did Declan Rice get a yellow?
I don't know. Was it the same ref as the match?
Different ref.
Okay.
So it's frustrating. However, when we look at the match, Doku kicks the ball away. Now, some people are saying, no, but the ref was telling them to move it back a bit. Doku's not the player who's meant to kick it back. And he kicked it further back than necessary. So if we're clamping down on time wasting, and that's what the yellow's for, he needs a yellow too. Yes, it might be slightly different, but he's still kicking the ball away from the restart, not towards it. Simple as. Because it goes forwards for Declan Rice to then take the free kick anyway. And we all know Doku's not stupid. He's not a terrible player. He could have passed it to Declan Rice. Obviously, I'm not expecting him to do that. He shouldn't be doing that. But kicking the ball away, he needs a yellow too. It shows a complete lack of inconsistency.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, right? But it's Michael Oliver with Man City every time. Every time, no matter who's playing. It's not an Arsenal thing. Every time he manages a match with Man City involved and there's a controversial thing, he always gives it City's way.
To be honest, I was going to say, I thought that you were going to say, everything is against Arsenal. And I was like, be objective, not subjective. But
yeah,
I get your point. Yet again, too many mistakes from referees. Well, we've spoken about this a couple of weeks ago about referees in England, how, everything should potentially change. The perfect world, referees in England should be good.
Personally, I think we should get foreign refs.
Yeah, we've spoken about this, and I completely agree with you. I just agree with you.
It's
just bring them from everywhere.
It's just this archaic belief of some people which is like, oh no, we're in England, we need English refs. Why?
Yeah, it just gives
We've got
more.
foreign players,
it gives
foreign managers, foreign owners.
Exactly, it gives more experience from different referees from all over the world, and this can give more not continuity, but like, just
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know what the right word is that I'm looking for, but you've understood what I said, and hopefully the viewers have understood what I've said. But something else that pissed me off about this game was the last goal, literally last second. Doesn't matter, that happened. Good for them. But it was Haaland's celebration. Did you see that?
I mean, I still want to talk about the red card. I'm not going to lie. I'm still not finished on that yet.
Oh, sorry. Should we finish about the red card then?
I'll wrap it up.
Okay.
So, the red card, in my opinion, is never a red because he's given him a yellow for kicking the ball away. He has put the ball over to the channel where Martinelli is running into. And if Martinelli gets that ball, he's clear through on goal, basically. If you watch the match, he's kicking it as the referee is still whistling. How the hell is he meant to respond? He's not the Flash. He's not Superman. He's not a superhero, is he? He's not got superhuman reflexes. I would not be able to respond in time. So, realistically, that should...
But you're not a professional player, are you?
Of course I'm not, but that's why I said he's not the Flash, is he?
I'm just joking.
So it's unrealistic expectations, and I mean, also on the ref, do you think Michael Oliver should be allowed to referee Manchester City matches, considering he's been paid £30,000, considering referees only get paid £5 per match? He's been paid £30,000 in 2023 by the chairman of Man City and the owner of Man City to referee a match in Saudi Arabia.
Absolutely not.
Well, that you shouldn't be allowed to?
Yeah,
or...
shouldn't be allowed.
I personally completely agree, because I think whether Michael Oliver knows it or not, obviously I hate all referees, so I don't even want to be giving him the benefit of the doubt, but I'm going to try.
If you're watching this podcast episode...
Oh, if you're watching this podcast episode, you're lying and cheating. I hope Brighton get relegated. No, I'm joking. That was a little bit of an AFTV reference right there for anyone who knows it. I've got nothing against Brighton, I'd like to say, but I think... I
like Brighton. I love them.
I mean, the main point for me is Michael Oliver, regardless of whether he believes he's biased or not, for the integrity of the referees and the integrity of the match, should not be refereeing City matches.
So, yeah, he's biased.
I believe he is. Then,
if you're watching this podcast, okay.
Then, second half, low block. It's what you expect from Arsenal in that situation. We are one goal up. You're one goal up against City. We don't need the goal. Let's sit back, defend, and do it properly.
Yeah.
And we did, in my opinion, and a lot of people will say, oh yeah, but you conceded a goal. A phenomenal job.
Yeah, but
Man City,
okay, they considered the goal on the 98th minute, so they did a brilliant job, as you were saying, for 45 plus 8 minutes.
Yeah, phenomenal job. Absolutely superb. I mean,
it was going to happen. As soon as they kicked that corner, I was like, yeah, it's going to happen. And it happened. That's okay. Arsenal drew against Man City, which is good. Like, it's 1 point instead of 0, which is still good.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. The way I look at it is, obviously, you mentioned Haaland's celebrations.
Wasn't really happy about it. I like the man. I like Haaland, but that's okay. That's all right. But I like him. You get too cocky about that. Something needs to happen about it. The ref should have, paid attention.
Well, I mean, in my opinion,
everybody's got that.
He's kicking off at multiple players. He's throwing stuff at them and he's barging into them and everything to try and waste time at the end to seal this draw. For them, the ref needs to book him, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And yes, that would stunt my FPL too, right? I'll be honest with you. But at the end of the day, Haaland didn't even get fined. Because they review stuff after matches. He didn't even get fined for it, which it's one of those. Don't get me wrong. I'm not one of these people saying, oh, we could have hurt Gabriel. He's not going to hurt Gabriel. Gabriel's like meat and gravy is headering a ball into the net.
Yeah.
It's never going to hurt him. But I just think it's really disrespectful for Haaland. And on top of that, I think it shows the stature of Man City as a club and how they're small.
That's a big statement.
It is.
Say it again for the viewers.
Man City are a small club because of how everyone reacted to their celebrations.
Okay.
I'm not going to lie, I was waiting for you to ask me to elaborate, but I'll elaborate anyway.
No,
so
I'm not asking you to elaborate because I agree.
My point is, we went to City's ground last year and we played for a draw, and we got a draw. And we got called weak mentality, all this sort of stuff. Why are you playing for a draw against your title rivals? You need to be going for a win. City get a draw in the last minute of the game and celebrate like they've won the league. Nobody calls them out. And you know what everyone says? Oh, Arsenal bottled it. And it's like, I'm not sure about that one, right? Because if we were at home and we celebrated a last minute draw, everyone would be like, why are they celebrating a draw for? They need to be winning that match if they want to beat.
Yeah.
So I just think it shows that a depth of a club doesn't just go into them getting praises and all that sort of stuff. It also goes into the hate which they receive. And I think the fact that Arsenal get more hate, even when we played a really good match, and if the ref didn't mess it up, in my opinion, would have been a phenomenal match and would have been a win, you've got to look at it and you've got to say, you know what? Fair play. Fair play to Arsenal, because they went out there, they tried to win. We almost did. Obviously, we don't get any extra points for almost, but we got very damn close. And now, when it does come to the game at the Emirates, obviously that's quite far away, but if we're still in good form, you have to look at us as favourites because of how we played. And actually, no, I won't yet, because that's the next talking point. I'll let you contribute anything if you'd like to.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, I don't really like the fan base of like the fans of Man City in general. It's just very plastic fans.
Yeah,
it is. I completely agree with what you're saying. It's just, yeah, boring.
It's one of those, like, don't get me wrong, there are some like die-hard City fans out there who've been there since day one, and I respect that massively. But the large majority are these plastic fans who are there and like, oh wow, Haaland's there and everything. So it's like, mate, where are you from? You're from Yorkshire, you know what I mean, or something like that. It's just like, chill out a bit. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens to Man City now that Rodri has a torn ACL.
Yeah.
Season over.
I think they've got really good players anyway on the bench, but they lost one of their most valuable players because De Bruyne is not playing either at the moment. So it's either going to be, who have they got actually on the bench?
I mean, to replace that position, you can play Stones there.
Yeah.
But I think the main one which they will do is Kovacic, who I personally think...
Yeah, but Kovacic is getting older now. He can't play a full match without getting too tired.
What, Rico Lewis instead?
Maybe.
The way I look at it is, I just think... Obviously, it's sad to see any player injured, but from an Arsenal perspective, it's really nice to see. Because he is so influential in that team, and I think now there will be that frailty to them. And it is going to be good on our behalf because it means we can take advantage of that, because during this time they will be dropping more points than they would have done. Obviously it's frustrating at the same time because it would be nice to see us beating them when they do have a Rodri or when they're at full fitness or anything like that, but it definitely does add a different dimension to this title race now, because obviously KDB's still out at the moment. He'll be back soon, don't get me wrong, but you can't play Gundogan, KDB and Bernardo Silva in the midfield because you've got no like defensive midfielder there. So they've got to play Kovacic, Rico Lewis, someone like that. But Kyle Walker, he's getting older. He's struggling.
Yeah.
He didn't have the greatest of matches either, if in my opinion, at least from what I saw.
Unless you change the module, instead of playing a 4-1-4-1, you play a different one. You put Foden in every match, and you kind of replace him somehow. Like, you've got, how many midfielders have you? Of course, we've spoken about Kovacic. Foden can drop back to midfield. We know this in the packet.
Yeah, but he's not a defensive midfielder, and you don't want to waste Foden in that sense. You want to play him either on the left wing while you're keeping Bernardo Silva in the squad, because then he can take that charge and then he can drift into the channels, or you play Foden as number 10 and you see what happens with that. I think
we're talking about
difficult.
Pep managing a team, so he knows what.
Oh yeah, he knows what he's going to do. It'll be a mixture of John Stones, Rico Lewis, and Kovacic. Those will be the three players who play in that defensive midfielder position for him.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens this season because there's nobody else. Or if they sign somebody else in January, maybe.
They might do. I could see that, to be fair. So it's going to be an interesting one. And I mean, the title race this season looks like it will be a bit more spicy. But I mean, looking at the injured players, I can't wait for some of these Arsenal ones to get back. You know what I mean? But Ben White, I just want to give him a shout out. What a hero. Played with an injury for the dying embers of the match. My guy. All Arsenal fans love Ben White. It's one of those, it's like...
Everybody loves Ben White. He's such a...
If I was a rival fan, I'd hate him. He's just a proper, like...
Yeah, but as a person, he's a likeable character.
Yeah, but that's because we like Arsenal. Let's be real, George, yeah.
Even when I didn't like Arsenal...
Yeah, but
I never disliked Arsenal, actually. Back, story about me, when I moved to England, I didn't know what team to support because my team is Inter Milan, right? And Daniel got me into actually supporting Arsenal.
Peer pressure. It works out sometimes.
It's not peer pressure because I actually told you, you know what? When I was little, I actually liked Man United. And I was, quite happy about it.
I felt disgusted.
Yeah, but I didn't care about...
I know, I'm just messing with you.
Now I don't like them. They just anyway.
But
yeah,
finally, Arteta getting a tactical win, in my opinion, over Pep Guardiola. So it feels nice.
Yeah, if Arteta's growing a lot as a manager,
Massively.
Going against your former colleague, working together and showing him actually, I'm learning from you. Now I know how to do the poo. I know how to do what I need to do. It's just good to see from Arteta, it's growing, and Pep is Pep.
Yeah,
there's nothing else you can add to this. Like, he just needs to come to Italy. Pep Guardiola, if you're watching this podcast, you need to come and manage a team in Italy. I'm not saying Inter Milan, I would like it, but
I actually mentioned that to you because that's what I think. About this. On a very brief note, and I'll just sum this up and then we'll move on, is I think it would fix Italian football because Italian football is really slow and that makes it a bit more boring, more lethargic, whereas if you bring in a Pep Guardiola, people have to speed up tempo.
I don't want to waste too much time, but I'm disagreeing because I watched a lot of Italian football when the season started. It's getting way better. It's getting faster. It's getting more aggressive. And you know what? I prefer to watch some of the Italian matches to the Premier League matches at some point, like sometimes. But that's just my opinion. Moving on. Let's move to the next match. Chelsea-West Ham. Chelsea is playing quite well recently against West Ham, which is I don't know how you would define West Ham. Is it if it's a mid-table team? Or if it's...
I mean, West Ham are a very weird one because they'll go between everywhere.
What's their form so far, West Ham? They only won one.
And then they got a draw. So it's not very good. I mean, they've been very open as a team. Very, very open. And you can see that there's a team you can score goals against.
Yeah.
But I think that's down to the manager. I think their team is good. If you look at the squad... I think their manager just isn't the right fit for West Ham United, and I think that he's going to get sacked.
Who do you think should replace the manager then?
Honestly, I've no idea. The managers that are out on the market, there's nobody who's there, and it's like, oh wow, you should pick him for 100%. I mean, maybe a Graham Potter. Maybe he would do well. Attacking football.
I wouldn't have chosen him.
I think he would do a decent job at West Ham, but it would be a risky one. With because obviously in the table at the moment, obviously we're only 5 games deep, so it's nothing too crazy. But they're 14th. That's relegation fight sort of form which they're in.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, they're still a little bit off of that when we look at it because they're 1 point ahead of the people who are on the verge of that relegation zone. But it's one of those. It's
only
borderline.
5 games, so they might change the manager, and then they
could finish
bang
top 8
goals and
yeah. They could even do it with the same manager. Yeah. Who knows?
They played in the Conference League last season, didn't they? Or Europa League?
They played in the Europa League and got knocked out, yeah.
Yeah, so they still show potential to play in Europe as, first 8.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those. With West Ham, they've got the players, and that's the thing. But
they just had a banging signing of, what's his name, the German player?
Oh, Fulkrug.
Yeah.
But let's also...
has he played at all?
But the question is he a Lopetegui player or was he more of a David Moyes player? Because when I saw that sign, I was like, oh, that's perfect. Then when I saw Lopetegui, I was like, actually, Because David Moyes, he's banging it in.
Yeah.
Huge, big, muscular striker up top. It's what he loves. It's like a David Moyes wet dream. You know what I mean? It's true, but we have to see.
I wouldn't have described it like that, but
we have to wait and see. But the big one for me is Chelsea. And I've said this. I think Chelsea will be better this season because even though there's some frailties to the Maresca system in the defensive side of things, they can concede, definitely.
Finally, all these signings are making something happen.
Well, I mean, it's more of Maresca did the sort of dirty part of it, which needed to be done, which is, okay, what players am I going to just back fully and what players am I going to axe out of the squad? Some of those players were players who the board told me I had to sell, like your Conor Gallagher and stuff, but your Raheem Sterling's and stuff like that, he axed them out. Huge risk because that is his job. If it does not work properly, it's all on him. But he's brought in the likes of Jadon Sancho, who's been playing really, really well.
I am actually really happy about Sancho. Like, how he's being treated from his former club. And then he goes to Borussia Dortmund. Then he comes to Chelsea and he actually shows his potential. This kid is good. He had an assist in this match. He's playing really, really well. And even if he was subbed off, he's still playing really well.
Yeah, it's one of those. He got subbed off 57th minute, but he already had an assist. It's one of
exactly.
Those,
That's what I'm saying.
He's showing quality, and I mean that's something which Chelsea have missed for quite a while. Because when you look at the wings, they've had usually Palmer, and at the moment, obviously, I would start Madueke, which they are doing, and they're starting Palmer through the middle. But Sancho is a player who is really, really good. We've seen him do that for Dortmund consistently, and him be wasted at Manchester United because the system which they try to employ is fast, pacey wingers. That's not Jadon Sancho. He's good one-on-one. He can pass the ball in quickly. If you give him an opportunity, he will score a goal. And from this, what he's shown is, he's not getting into those goal-scoring positions because that's Palmer's job. That's Jackson's job. That's Madueke's job. Sancho's job is to feed. And that's what he's doing superbly.
He got an assist.
Exactly. And, I mean, it's one of those. He plays with Chelsea. I should hate him just for that purpose alone.
We don't hate people. We just severely dislike them. But you can't dislike him. He's a good kid and he's playing.
I need that on like a little top for you. We don't hate people. We just severely dislike them.
them.
But for me, he's a player who, because of his treatment at Man United and the PR around him being this, like, he's a waste of a player, all this sort of stuff. No.
Hell no.
He's good. We saw it at Dortmund. He went back to Dortmund and performed again. That's what shows a player's good, is when they go through that tough bit of form after they've had that breakout spell, if they can regain it. And he's shown 2 times now he can regain it. Manchester United in the mud. But we digress.
We'll talk about Manchester United in a second.
And Nicholas Jackson scoring 2 goals.
Yeah. They're playing quite well.
Scoring.
I'm quite impressed with Chelsea. So, fair play to them.
Yeah.
Fair play to them.
Give them their flowers. Give them a little round of applause. So, next. Liverpool 3, Bournemouth 0.
You know what? What I was going to say is that finally Darwin Núñez scored a goal.
Honestly, he's the most random, bizarre player ever. I said this.
And he scored a banging goal. Like, honestly, it was quite good.
I wasn't able to watch the match, but I watched Match of the Day with one of my friends actually in Liverpool. And I was there and I was just talking to him. I was like, Darwin Núñez is such a random-ass player. Like, he won't score for so long, and he'll just be poor. And he'll just score a worldie, and then he'll just carry on being poor. And it's just, I said to him, I was like, if that was a one-on-one opportunity with the goalkeeper, he misses.
It's like, you know the meme, like, I've done my job, but you've done nothing. Exactly, and then he just disappears. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, that's Darwin Núñez.
He's such a bizarre player, but it was important for Liverpool to get back into the rhythm of things. Obviously,
they only lost a match. That's okay. They lost against Forest, which, you know, it might be quite concerning to some people, but it's okay. They lost only a match and they won 3-0 against Bournemouth.
The momentum was difficult though, because
exactly, Bournemouth, like literally they scored a goal which was offside after 4 minutes, but I think
that shakes a team sometimes.
That's what I'm saying, like the mentality from Bournemouth started like going down after the goal was ruled out. And if they could have kept going, like I think that they could have had a chance to either win it or draw it, but then you saw who dominated. Liverpool then won 3-0, and Luis Diaz is great player. Great player.
I mean, I look at Luis Diaz and I think, me included, I was there saying he's not this goal-scoring winger. For me,
but
that wasn't an issue. I thought he was still a phenomenal player and he deserved his flowers in that team.
Oh, sorry.
Because when you look at Luis Diaz and you look at his stats for the season, 5 matches, 5 goals and 1 assist. Those are really good numbers.
Yeah, the rating is 8.2 on average.
So on average, he's performing well in matches overall. He's scoring goals. He's getting assists. He's doing it well. He's getting his shots off and stuff. And I think that's clearly what Arne Slot wants from him. He's there and he's like, do it. And he's there and he's came up. And after a lot of criticism from a lot of people in the sort of summer saying, oh, are Liverpool going to get rid of him? He's not really scoring loads of goals or anything, which there's another player in that squad who actually scored a goal in that match who I would consider worse for not scoring goals. No comment. Darwin Núñez. But I look at it and I think, he's such a good player. He deserves some flowers here because a lot of people, I've not seen many people actually point out 5 goals in 5 matches is good.
But he's not Haaland, is he?
Of course not. But he's a winger. You've got to put him to different expectations.
It's a good rating. On average, 5 matches, 5 goals, 1 assist. Really good. Fair play to him. Should we applaud to him again?
Another applause.
Let's make it a tradition. Every time that we like a player, then we'll applaud for 3 seconds.
We don't have to time it 3 seconds, but roughly, yeah. I agree. Let's give people their applause when needed, when necessary, when deserved. Yeah.
So we have Sancho and Diaz. No, actually, the whole team of Chelsea and Luis Diaz. So
yeah, but I'd like to give just like most of that applause towards Jadon Sancho, just because I feel like he deserves it. But to the whole team of Chelsea too, because they've been through the mud, and yeah, they're not going to win every match. But I think Chelsea challenging for
Champions. I think Champions League spot, probably 4th or 3rd.
Could be them.
But this wasn't in my predictions. But
fair play. I mean, a couple injuries and it could all change.
Exactly. But moving on, I don't think that there's anything else to talk about this match.
Not really. I mean, it was quite straightforward.
Quite straightforward.
It is the history of Tottenham. I think we're going to Tottenham Brentford.
I haven't watched this match actually, so that's up to you to talk about this because I haven't had the chance. But I'm seeing like a goal in the first minute from Brentford.
Yep, it was a really poor start for Spurs. Obviously, scoring a goal, conceding a goal in the first minute is unacceptable. At any point, you have to be prepared from minute 1 to minute 90. But they responded really well. Dom Solanke with his first goal for Spurs. That's really important because, in my opinion, and I think other people have said this too, so it's not a new opinion, he's a perfect player for Spurs. He is Spurs level. He's never going to go to a higher up club because he's not good enough.
I was waiting for you to say something.
He's
like
the
that.
level of Spurs, and that makes him perfect for him. It's like a match made in heaven.
Like a legend for Spurs, never winning anything. Perfect.
He's not, but I'll just be real with you. He probably won't, but he's a good player. He is, and I mean, you can go your entire career as a good player and not win anything. I mean, this is no disrespect. Obviously, I do point out as a laugh most of the time, but if you look at Harry Kane, for example, he's a player who's world class, one of the best strikers in the world.
Best striker for England.
What?
Easy.
All time?
Yeah.
Now I'll say Shearer over him, personally. But I think he's a phenomenal player and he's a world class striker and he's not won anything.
He's a cursed player.
He's cursed. It's a matter of time. They'll probably win Bundesliga this season, let's be real. If they don't,
no, because I won Borussia Dortmund to finally win it after 10 years, 14 years.
Yeah, but after Marco Reus left, I'd feel so sad. Like, he
should
have just
stayed. I just don't want Bayern Munich to win it again because they've won it for how many seasons straight? 10 seasons.
And then it stopped.
Then it stopped, exactly. So now cycle been broken, then
who knows?
other
Who knows?
teams should start winning it.
But my point is, it's like you can still be a really good player and not win these trophies. Of course, those trophies will impact your legacy later on.
Exactly. So, but being a good player, not winning anything, I think I will find it the most depressing job ever. If I was a footballer and I will only win, a normal match on a Sunday, but nothing.
Yeah, but it depends if you love your club. I mean, if you were playing for Inter Milan, it wouldn't make a difference to you, would it?
But Inter Milan wins trophies.
Yeah, but let's say they didn't. They didn't win a single trophy in your entire playing career there.
Yeah, okay.
You'd still be happy because you're there. Like, I played for a club I love, and I think that's the thing. It's like when
Harry
people...
Kane, for example, if we talk about Harry Kane, right?
He obviously loved Spurs.
Were they his child's team?
No, but he'd been there for a long time because obviously he got kicked out of the Arsenal academy for being too chubby.
But right now he went to Bayern Munich. Does he love Bayern Munich?
No, but
he gets paid loads of money.
Well, he went because he wanted to win trophies.
Did he? No,
not yet. There's a lot of time left.
So far, he hasn't won anything.
Yeah, but he's going to win something eventually. But anyway, we digress. I think Spurs did play well, though. I mean, Brendan Johnson scoring. I had a lot of stick from him after last week's result for Spurs. I mean, I think he's a good player. He's decent. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think he's phenomenal or anything like that. But, I mean, Son, good performance too. I mean...
yeah. I just think he's a phenomenal player. Daniel might disagree with me. I don't care. He's good. Probably the only good player from South Korea ever.
I am definitely going to disagree with you. I can't lie.
And I said that. I know.
I mean, you said only good player from South Korea. Ji-sung Park.
Mate, it's just a joke. I know that there's all this.
But, I mean, don't get me wrong. Son has been world class in the past. Phenomenal.
He still is. He still is.
He's not. He was really good in this match, don't get me wrong, against a Brentford team which usually finishes just above relegation spots. But against big teams, he can't do it because he's not as good anymore. And they're playing him up top if Slank isn't starting. If not, he's playing on the left. I don't think his pace is there. I don't think his strength is the same. Obviously, he could easily prove me wrong. And if he does, fair play, I'll hold my hands up. But I don't think he will. And I think, as far as Spurs go, they're doing well. You can tell they're going to be challenging for European positions. It depends what European positions they're
Conference League,
for.
Conference League, Europa League. But no round of applause for Son, apparently.
No, you know what? We can give him a round of applause if you'd like. Well, actually, I kind of refuse because it's Spurs.
After we spoke about Sancho and Luis Diaz, I don't feel like
it's a step down.
Yeah.
Manchester United. Oh wow! It wasn't 7-0 against a League One team again.
Boring game.
Yeah, I mean, it shows for me. Man United are a mid-table club at the moment.
Look at Garnacho in this. It's not a round of applause for you.
For me, he's just like this. Me being as non-biased as possible. They're a mid-table club performing at the moment.
So far, our prediction of them being underperformers become true.
Very transparent.
We were talking about before recording that Ten Hag is in danger.
Definitely.
Danger.
Obviously, last week he beat Southampton 3-0.
Yeah, but it's Southampton.
And I mean, realistically, if they score that penalty, it's a different game. It is. And they missed the penalty, and that means that Man United go on to win 3-0. But they beat a relegation side 3-0, and then they beat a League One team 7-0. And then they go into Palace thinking they are going to get a result. Don't get me wrong, it was a very defensive performance from Palace. Obviously, Dean Henderson getting man of the match as the goalkeeper. However, let's be real here. Man United, if they're trying to challenge for top 4, need to be winning those matches.
I don't think they're challenging for top 4, to be honest. I know that Ten Hag has said it, but does he actually believe it?
I mean, I think he does, but I think when you look at Ten Hag...
Yeah, but in his imagination or something, I don't know what's going on in his head.
In my opinion, he's a very deluded man.
Oh, it's like you.
No, because I'm deluded, but I'm self-aware about it.
He's not self-aware about it.
He's not self-aware at all. He'll come out and he'll be like, no, but I mean, you got to understand.
We won against Coventry on penalties, so we were so good.
Exactly. He'll be like, Yeah, but I mean, we wouldn't get...
Look how many different celebration can my player do.
Yeah,
four at the same time.
It is really silly. And don't get me wrong, some part of him has to back his players and say, yeah, we are doing this, we're doing that. But there also needs to be that level of realism. And I mean, I'm sure Man United fans, let me know if you agree with me. Would you respect a manager more if he came to your club and said, of course, Man United should be challenging these positions, but at the moment, we have to understand the reality of the situation we're in and understand that overnight, we're not going to suddenly challenge for the title, challenge for the Champions League, or even potentially finish in that top 4 if there are teams better than us. We need to slowly develop this style of play, and it might take a couple of seasons before you're back in the Champions League, but you'll see an influx and you'll see a rise after that point. You need to invest.
They are one of the best teams in the world, not just in England, in the world.
Biggest, not best. Best teams would imply they've got the best players.
Well, they used to be one of the best, the biggest. Then let's use this adjective.
I'd say one of the biggest.
Yes. Yeah. So you must keep that going, keep that momentum. It's been lost for a while now, so just gotta keep it up, boys.
A long time. I mean, I was speaking to I think it was a Man United supporter. I'm not sure. No, it wasn't a Man United supporter, actually. But I was speaking to somebody about this with Man United, and they were saying, but Man United is this club which can attract whatever player they want. And I just went, no, they're not. Like, you're dead wrong, because Man United were able to in the past. And I think with where they are as a club at the moment, they're able to attract better players than they would do. If it was a Chelsea, which no disrespect to Chelsea are a big club, but from debatably the biggest club in the world to Chelsea, it's a bit of a drop. No disrespect to them, because Chelsea are on a similar level to Arsenal too. So it's one of those. It'd be the same if it was to Arsenal. So of course they're going to be able to get somewhat better players to the position they're in. However, the position they're in, they can't compete. If an Arsenal or a Man City, or even, I'm not going to say Chelsea because they've not finished top 4 or anything like that, but Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, any one of these top teams come in, you go to them instead. You do. It's just a simple fact, because you look at Man United and you say, realistically, manager's in trouble. I don't know if I'll even be liked by the new manager. And even then, how many managers they've been through? There's no success yet.
Yeah.
Some trophies, don't get me wrong, and trophies are good. But as I say with Manchester United, is you need someone to invest into. I don't think Ten Hag is that man.
No, I think as soon as the manager changes, if it's the right change, completely, like the team, the management, and everything is going to change, and yeah, it's going to just turn 180 degrees around. But if the management changes, if things keep being the same way, there's no chance of them even finishing in Europe this season.
See, it's the way I look at it is, I don't even think if they change manager, there'll be the sharp change. There won't be a U-turn. I think with Manchester United, it'll be slow. It's whoever you bring in next has to be a manager who you're prepared.
They'll bring Southgate.
I personally think they will bring in Southgate. I think it's a terrible idea.
I think it will be a terrible move.
But I think if they bring in a Gareth Southgate, for example, someone who isn't Gareth Southgate, and they invest in him properly, and they look at it and they say, okay, this is a manager who isn't going to be successful straight away. We're looking for a style of play and someone who we have faith and belief in. Someone who can sell us a project and we have that faith. But not only that, when we sign players, we have a sporting director in place who knows, this is the style of football we want to play. So if we bring in players, they will suit whatever manager we bring in under that profile. Yeah. Unlike how they're doing with Ten Hag at the moment, which is, this guy is Dutch. I used to manage him. Please bring him. No. It doesn't work that way in life.
Just because you're bald, you're not Pep. I'm sorry.
Don't get me wrong. Some past knowledge can be helpful. Like, look at the situation, obviously, with us bringing Raheem Sterling on loan. It's nice to know.
Past. If you keep living in the past, you don't move forward.
Yeah, I agree. And I think with Man United, they've got to look and they've got to kind of change their entire strategy.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see if they actually do that or if they don't. Who knows? Who knows at this point? So, I mean, ready to move on?
Yeah.
I'll let you introduce this last match, because you're the one who was dying to talk about it.
No, I wasn't dying to talk about it, but we'll have a chat about it.
It was.
Fulham Newcastle. 3-1 for Fulham. Good performance for them. I think they are waking up slowly. I mean, winning against Newcastle. Newcastle is a way better team than Fulham, hands down.
I wouldn't say way better, but I would say definitely a better team. I think if you look at the standings, there'll be at least 4 places in between them at the end of the season. So it's a good result for Fulham. That's what I would say personally.
Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the form of both teams. They have kind of the similar.
Yeah, 3 places between them. I'm almost right with 4. You know what I mean? And I think when you look at Fulham, obviously Arsenal boys, ex-Arsenal boys running rampant. Reece Nelson, Smith Rowe, Alex Iwobi. My boys.
Not subjective at all, but okay.
Oh, it's not subjective. I'll be real. But
My
I mean,
boys.
I look at it and I think Fulham are a really good team. You're playing at Craven Cottage. It's a difficult match to go into. Newcastle have been in good form, but with any team that is challenging for top 4, like I mentioned with
Sorry, you're talking about Newcastle right now, right?
Yeah, Newcastle, of course. With any team which challenges for top 4, like your Chelsea, like your Newcastles, there's going to be those losses occasionally. Like Chelsea have lost a match so far, so have.
Yeah, but I'm talking more about the form that Fulham is having right now, because we both said that they will outperform in the season. Do you think that they are achieving that expectation? They won 2 matches, they lost the first one, and they drew 2.
I don't think they're living up to the expectations which we had of them. However, there's a lot of time left in the season, and it takes time for players to gel in. It takes time for people to sort of get into the groove of things sometimes. And obviously with them, they got Raul Jimenez up top. They've got Reece Nelson, who's just came in on loan from Arsenal. They've got Emile Smith-Rowe just came in on a permanent transfer from Arsenal. But they've got these transfers who have came in, and they've also got, what's it called? Anderson, who's came in. So they've got, 4 new players into their starting 11? Obviously, Reece Nelson was a substitute, but I undoubtedly believe he will be starting for them by the end of the season. Like, he'll be a regular for him, and I think that's the reason why he's went there compared to an Arsenal where he would be a substitute.
Yeah.
So, don't get me wrong, difficult match for your Newcastle, but that's going to happen at some points. And don't get me wrong, Newcastle should be frustrated and be like, come on, we should be putting up a better fight. However, it's not the end of the world. The target for you guys is to try and get top 4, and that's where you're at.
Yeah, it's good for Fulham. It's good to keep, that momentum when you play with big teams. They have the potential to stop them from winning, but they still can outperform and finish in Europe. I think that's still the chance. Aiming for Conference League, I think.
It's a difficult season to do it, though, because there's a lot of teams around that level. So it's really close.
I believe they can do it.
Is there any specific player from that Fulham team you want to give a round of applause?
It will be because he won man of the match.
You know what? It will be. He got the assist. He had a good overall match. And I think, you know what? He's a player who doesn't get a lot of praise, does he?
Yeah, he's just there, random, and nobody ever thinks about him. So, yes, you've deserved a round of applause. So, for the matches of this week, we're pretty much done, but we wanted to cover a little bit what happened last week. We've only got a couple of matches that we actually wanted to talk about.
Yeah, only a couple.
Yeah, Liverpool Forest, we've spoken about it a little bit earlier on. Liverpool lost 1-0 against Forest. How do we feel about that?
My point is a lot of people saying Liverpool title challengers, ? No, that's an unrealistic expectation to have. Liverpool losing that match, in my opinion, kind of shows that isn't really the case. But obviously, this isn't me saying they're completely out of any title race or anything like that, and it's impossible for them. But I'm saying, let's be a bit real here for a second. If they were in a title race, that would be a huge achievement for them, and it would be an overachievement. Because it's a manager's first season.
Yeah, new manager.
Exactly. He's
not very many signings and still the same players, which is not bad. But I agree with you.
It's one of those. You look at him and you've got to say, you know what? This is poor result overall, but
Still top 4.
Still top 4. Still solid. He's still performing well. And you just got to kind of give him time.
Yeah, Forest is playing quite all right at the moment. I don't know how to feel about it because I just said that they will get relegated, but
your in-laws are all Derby fans, so he's got to walk a tightrope. He's got to walk the tightrope.
It's okay. We live, we love,
and we laugh.
We die.
Live, laugh, love, and then you want to put die on the end.
Yeah.
So another match we wanted to cover. I'll save best till last, I think, because we know which one I'm wanting to cover.
Man United, Southampton.
We already kind of covered this a little bit.
Yeah. So again, Man United winning 3-0 against Southampton, and everybody's like, "Oh,
ego rises! Yes, wow, what a team!
Wow,
they've won 3-0.
You won against a newly promoted team that is going to get relegated 100%.
Yeah.
So
they're 18th in the league, joint with Everton and Wolves, who are 19th and 20th on 1 point.
The only reason why they're 18th is because of goal differences.
Yeah, so it's not looking good, bruv. It's something which, when you look at it, it's really poor, really poor from Southampton. But it was on a knife edge. It was close to it being a situation where, hey, let's look at it and be honest. If they score that penalty, the game could change completely. 1-0, and that changes everything. But we've already talked a little bit about that. So let's get into the real match here.
Arsenal-Tottenham.
North London derby.
It was a great match. Only 1 goal. But
1-0 to the Arsenal. 1-0. I could not care less if it's 1-0, anything like that. We came in.
We spoke about set pieces already, so like
we came in depleted squad. Realistically, we didn't have our Martin Odegaard. We didn't know who was going to be there, if we could even like cope with that sort of stuff. We came in and we knew, hey, it's going to be a bit of a scrapey one because this isn't us playing against a Man City. This is a derby. It's very different to all the other matches in the Premier League, the North London derby, because form out the window. It's crazy out there. 1 goal changes the entire complexion of the match, and we keep it up. We stay focused defensively, and then when we get those chances from set pieces, we know what's going to happen. We got Gabriel, big Gabby. And I mean, it's one of those.
Bam!
The reason why it's so difficult, I think, is because we've got so many different threats now. Kai Havertz, Gabriel, Saliba,
Calafiori.
Yeah, I'm talking about from set pieces.
I know.
Yeah, but
I just put his name there. It's fine.
And
he's always there.
I mean, you've got Declan Rice. They can play it short to a Bukayo Saka or Martinelli. You've got Thomas Partey who can sit on the edge. You've got all these different sort of combinations which can happen. So it's very difficult to know what's going to happen, how they're going to do it, when they're going to do it. I just thought it was really, really good.
Yeah, it was an overall very well fought match from both sides. Really good. And
one thing I almost forgot to mention about the Spurs match from this week, actually.
What is it?
Vicario should have got sent off.
True.
He just juggled the ball outside the box, and VAR were like, I don't know. I'm sorry, it's ridiculous. I mean, it just shows the inconsistency. There's nothing against certain clubs or 4 other ones. Obviously, I'm not going to be that stupid in saying that there isn't something for top 6 clubs, over like the rest of the other teams, but lucky. Also, on the note of goalkeepers, David Raya.
And we didn't even speak about Champions League.
I know. Can we just say for a moment, I think on form he's the best goalkeeper in England at least.
Yeah, I wouldn't dare to say in Europe, but in England, yes.
I mean, in Europe, I think he's challenging for that top spot.
He's up there.
He's challenging for it. If he keeps this up for the rest of the season, I think he wins Goalkeeper of the Year.
Yeah, he did an outstanding performance in Champions League. Oh my gosh. When there was the penalty, I was like...
I mean, there was Villa, where he had the great saves.
Yeah.
There was, even in the Spurs match, he made a great save.
He won player of the match.
Yep, there was some great saves from the penalties you mentioned, double save, and then even against City there were some saves in there which were really good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those, you look at him and you just think, I was wrong to ever doubt you, my
Arteta saw great potential and he did not waste it. So a round of applause for Arteta.
No, for David Raya, come on. Also, I just want to say, if anyone's out there and they know the LeBron James "You Are My Sunshine" meme, please edit a version of David Raya for me. I just want to...
I can do it for you later
on. You are
way.
my sunshine. David Raya, where do I begin?
But yeah, that was pretty much everything we wanted to cover today. And yeah, hopefully you have enjoyed this episode of the podcast. Please like, subscribe, comment, share with your friends. That will really appreciate. We will really appreciate it.
We'd love it. We'd love it.
We'd love it. Yes, will help us grow and bring more content to you. And if there's anything that you would like to see in this podcast, please let us know.
Yeah, we're open to suggestions. We're not closed-minded individuals. We might be a bit deluded, but we are self-aware.
Self-aware, yes. So an applause for your self-awareness.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
But we'll see you next week with some more updates, I guess.
Yeah, more Premier League matches, more, hopefully, fun, a bit more spice. Hopefully nothing to do with Arsenal.
Hopefully not another red card for Arsenal. But yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Have a good rest of your day, night, evening, afternoon, whatever you are doing right now.
Perfect. Goodbye.
Bye.